The workers of British Columbia are busy creating a better life for all of us. With our factories and mills working at full speed, and with more investments on the way, we've never lived better. Workers enjoy the cleanest, safest working conditions modern industry can offer. Modern processing methods and the latest in production line know-how combine to make the work easier, faster, safer, and more profitable than ever. Yes, BC is shipping our products to us.
Unfortunately, this wasn't always the case in many mills, factories, and shops. Some workers were left almost completely unprotected. Working with saws, grinders, and machinery of every description, and at times under difficult and intolerable conditions, personal safety was something foreign. Accidents that maimed and killed were unfortunately a part of working life. Today's working environment and regulations are designed for efficiency and safety. Manufacturers build guarding devices and safety features into their equipment, and most workers and owners approach the job with a safe attitude. But despite all the great advances in conditions and equipment, there are still too many senseless accidents that result from carelessness or dangerous alteration to equipment. It only takes a split second to lose a limb, an eye, or your life. Herman Kettler works in a mill as a trimmerman. One afternoon, while nearing the end of a particular job, he was about to make one more cut when disaster struck. The saw caught the board and pulled his hand across the blade.
Well, my hand was cut off crossways like this. And you look in disbelief, but I saw the hand drop down on the floor, and you turn around and you grab your arm, and I shouted for the first aid man. Those saws are big, and it happened so fast that it's just such a little time in your life, but it's all done and over.
The potential for danger usually begins before the machine is turned on. At this point, personal protection is completely up to you. A ground fault could exist in the electrical wiring. Examine the electrical connections and the cord. Make sure the blade guard is in place and operating smoothly.
A lot of times when the weather gets wet, if you do a lot of heavy cutting and you get a lot of buildup of sawdust and that in there, and this thing won't work freely. A couple of times I've had it where it hasn't kicked back because it has plugged up in wet weather. Stuff like that. But that's the first thing I always check when I pick up a saw is this. And of course when you go to change the blade, first thing you do is unplug it.
Don't jam the guard or interfere with its operation. Make sure to keep the blade exposure as low as possible.
I see a lot of people try to shim up the guard here, which is very dangerous because they put it down and it spins around, or if they miss it, cut your leg again. Really, you should just allow the blade to be a little deeper than the piece of wood you're cutting. This stops it from binding and from kicking back.
Plan the path of your cut. Position yourself away from a potential kickback. Keep your work area clean and the floor dry.
The biggest thing you have to watch out is to make sure that you don't have any dirt against your fence. Because if you have dirt against your fence, the piece of wood could bind and then kick out. Some saws, when you pull them, they kind of stick or they come too easily, so you always have to be aware that you have to control the speed at which you're pulling it, because sometimes they just reach a certain point and they fly at you.
Wear your protective gear at all times, and don't hesitate to talk to your supervisor if you feel the job can be done in a safer manner or with a better guard. Safety is a matter of attitude and of common sense. Know and develop a healthy respect for your equipment. Stay alert to potential hazards, and don't work without proper guards. Leo Vandenberg has his own company. On a Sunday morning, working on a custom iron frame job similar to the one you're watching now, he had the first serious accident of his career. He was rushing to finish the job. Suddenly, the blade shattered and ripped into his arm.
I was passed out, and I lay on the floor there for how long, I don't know. Now I found out for the first time in my life how dangerous it can be when somebody works only by himself. I never realized it before. When I see somebody grinding without a guard on or without goggles, I get goosebumps and get off. And right away he has to stop and he protect himself. I'm still real allergic about it, angry. Oh yeah, even aggressive. And I think I never come over that.
Most injuries can be prevented. It's a matter of using common sense. You personally should know the potential for danger. Grinding wheels can fly apart or kick back without warning. The wheel fragments can ricochet or bounce back toward you. Fingers, hands, and clothing can get caught and serious injuries can occur instantly. You don't need much imagination to understand the consequences.
Doing work on cut-off saws, swing grinders, pedestal grinders, one of the most important things to get into the habit of doing is to stand off the side when you initially start them up at the beginning of your shift or whenever you do it. All kinds of things could go wrong. I mean, in the time that you weren't operating that piece of equipment, somebody may have hit the stone. People may have abused it in the shift prior to you. And to me, that's the single most important key, is to stand off to the side.
Make sure guards are in place and that they function properly before you use your equipment. Always operate the equipment as it was intended. If the guard is not functioning or is missing, don't use the machine. Report it immediately. If you think an existing guard could be improved, talk to your supervisor.
All grinding wheels in North America have to have an RPM rating on the wheel. That RPM should never be exceeded. Make sure that you keep the proper maintenance on your machine. That's very critical. They're dangerous, and if they're abused, one day something's going to happen. It's inevitable. When that wheel lets go, it's just like a gun or a speeding car or something like that. It's just as dangerous as that. You've got shrapnel coming off these wheels at thousands of RPM, thousands of surface feet per minute. When they hit you, it's just like a bullet. You haven't got a chance.
Inspect the workplace frequently for hazards. Wear proper safety equipment and keep the floor and working area dry and clean. Stay out of the way of potential kickbacks and airborne materials.
There's a lot of times, I know myself, I've found that gee, this would be faster if I could pull this guard off, or that's 20 minutes to put that back on, why bother, I'm only doing this quick little job. There again, if you stop and think, what would happen if? Anything to give you a second chance. You know, if you slip and your fingers whack into the side of the guard, well, that's better than having them run through the pulleys or through the gears.
Machine guards are there for your protection, but they only work if they are used with due care and attention and are maintained properly. You owe it to yourself to work as safely as possible. Tong Hyung worked in a bakery. The machine he worked on packaged baked goods with a plastic wrap. The interlock was defeated. The product needed help through the wrapping process. He was used to accomplishing this by sticking his hands into the machine. But this time, he got caught in the hot cutting blades.
I yell out for help, right? So I have partners stand behind me, so I run for help. So but nobody knows how to operate the machine.
By the time he received proper help, it was too late. He had lost most of his hand.
And for my career, I had to change it totally because I planned to do another thing, another job. I use both hands, right? But now I lost one hand. So.
Tong now attends university. The bakery wasn't going to be his career. But his life was drastically changed, and the legacy of that short period at his job will stay with him forever. Most production lines have mechanical or electronic interlocking devices. They are designed simply to shut down the machine if its operation is interrupted in any way. It's there to save lives and prevent accidents. But interlocks can't do their job if the operator defeats its purpose by bypassing or jamming its operation.
Generally, when I work with other people, I try to inform them where the switches are and why you use it. A lot of these switches have been added to the fact that some of the employees themselves have suggested it. Myself, several times, I've gone to our safety committee, the engineers, or one of the managers or superintendents. I don't think anybody wants to see any injuries in the plant at all.
All too often, people in a hurry ignore or even eliminate the operation of electrical and mechanical interlocks on their equipment. This dangerous practice can go on for years before disaster strikes. Experienced workers, as well as those who have only been on the job for a short time, can be victims.
It doesn't matter if you're old, old or young. If you work on the machine for quite a while, you get careless. Just realize how dangerous that machine is. Till it happens to you, you don't believe it will. But then it's too late. You've lost a finger or squished your hand or something, right?
A safe and healthy respect for the destructive forces of your machine will help keep you safe and productive.